dusty shelves, and the occasional late-night researcher. My boss, Mr. Carter, seemed relieved to hand over the hours. He joked, "Let's see how long you last." I laughed, not realizing it wasn't a joke. The first few nights were fine, peaceful. I organized books, sipped coffee, and sometimes read old journals left behind. But then I noticed things, little things. A chair slightly out of place, books missing, then reappearing. I blamed my memory or some late-night visitors I missed. No big deal. Then came the journal. It was tucked into a corner behind the philosophy section. A leather-bound notebook, old and brittle. The first page read, "To whoever works the night shift now he watches." I laughed it off, thinking it was a prank. But each page got darker. The writer, someone named Alan, described seeing a man who looked exactly like him, walking between the shelves, always in the corner of his eye. He claimed this double eventually started mimicking him, walking like him, moving like him, staring. Alan said he stopped looking in mirrors, said the double wasn't just copying him, it was replacing him. By the end of the journal, Alan had vanished. The last entry was, "I saw him in the mirror. He smiled first." Chills ran down my spine. I looked around the dark, empty library, my reflection in the window. Didn't smile back, and that's when I heard it. Footsteps identical to mine coming from behind the stacks. I froze. The footsteps stopped when I did. Then they started again, matching my pace exactly. I whispered into the dark, "Who's there?" No answer, just silence. Heavy and unnatural. My heart pounded as I crept toward the shelves, gripping a metal bookend like a weapon. I turned the corner, no one. But the chill in the air was real. And then, I saw it. My reflection, in a mirror across the hall. But I hadn't moved. I was staring at myself, but my reflection blinked first and smiled. I dropped the bookend and stumbled back. The lights flickered, and when they came back on, the mirror was just a wall. No reflection, no mirror, like it never existed. I rushed to Mr. Carter the next day. He didn't look surprised. "Alan?" he asked quietly. I shook my head. "No, he's gone, but someone else is here now." He leaned in and said, "They never leave. They just get replaced." That night, I returned against my instincts. I had to know. I had to see. I checked the journal again. New pages were written in my handwriting. I didn't remember writing them. One read, "He walks better now. More confident. People notice him more." I raced to the bathroom mirror. My reflection looked just like me, but something was off. The way it grinned. The way it leaned closer as I leaned away. I turned to run, but slammed into someone. It was me. Or rather, he looked like me, but his eyes weren't mine. He smiled and whispered. Finally, everything went black. I woke up in my apartment confused. Everything seemed normal, but people at work greeted me differently. They said I seemed ... better, more talkative, more confident. Only one person seemed suspicious, Mr. Carter. He handed me the leather journal again. It was empty. And that night, when I looked in the window of the library, ... my reflection didn't follow. We moved into the coastal town of Harrows Point in the fall. The salty wind, crashing waves, and distant sound of seagulls made it feel like a peaceful retirement from city life. My wife Mika and I were looking for quiet, but what we got was something else. The house sat on a cliff overlooking the Atlantic. Locals said the land used to belong to lighthouse keepers, and even before that, whalers. The house had been empty for decades before we bought it cheap. Too cheap. The first night we heard it, a faint, eerie whistling, coming from the sea. Not wind, not a boat. A tune soft, slow, and sad. Mika woke me up at 3 a.m., asking if I'd left music on. I hadn't. We both stood by the window, looking out into the fog. Nothing but water and blackness. The sound returned the next night, and the next. Always at the same time. Always that same strange melody. I asked a local fisherman named Carter about it. He froze and muttered, "The sea calls to those who listen. Don't answer it." The next night I left the window open. The whistle returned closer now. Mika couldn't hear it anymore, but I could. It made my bones cold and my breath shallow. Then came the wet footprints on the porch, leading to the door. But no one ever knocked. One morning I found a seashell on my pillow. Inside, it whispered my name. I wanted to leave. Mika didn't believe me. She thought I was sleepwalking or hallucinating, but I knew what I was hearing. That whistle wasn't in my head, it was real. I started recording it. Every night at 3 a.m., I left my phone by the window. The recordings always captured the sound low and mournful, like someone whistling underwater. But when I played it back for Mika, she heard nothing, just static. One night, I couldn't take it anymore. I followed the sound. I walked down the rocky cliff path behind the house. The fog was thick, and the wind carried the whistle in pulses, drawing me in like a fisherman reeling in a catch. I reached the old lighthouse at the bottom of the cliff, boarded up and broken, but its light was on. I stepped inside. The door opened on its own. Inside, everything smelled like seaweed and rot. A spiral staircase led up into the dark. Each step creaked under my feet. The whistle grew louder, echoing down the walls. At the top, the glass chamber was shattered, but the light spun anyway. And standing there, half shadow and half man, was a figure in a long raincoat. His back turned, he was whistling. When he turned around, his face was soaked, bloated like a drowned corpse. Eyes pale and glowing, he raised a waterlogged hand and said, "You heard the call, now you stay." I ran, but since that night, the whistle follows me, even inland, even in my dreams. I always loved swimming in Stillwater Lake. It was quiet, clean, and hidden deep in the forest. But that summer, something changed. It started when my friend Kaira noticed lights flickering beneath the surface, like fireflies moving underwater. At first we thought it was some kind of underwater cave with bioluminescent fish, but the way the lights moved, it felt like they were watching us. One evening, Kaira dared me to dive in and touch one of them. I hesitated, but peer pressure always wins. I dove in. As I swam deeper, I saw the light getting brighter. It wasn't a fish, it was a small glass orb, glowing soft blue, resting on the lake bed. I reached out to touch its hand. The world went silent. No water, no bubbles, no sound, just blackness. Then I saw faces. Pale bloated faces with sunken eyes, and mouths frozen in screams. They circled around me like a whirlpool. I kicked hard and broke to the surface. Gasping, Kaira said I was underwater for barely a minute, but it felt like an hour. After that, I couldn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw those faces. And then the dreams started me standing by the lake at night, watching the water glow, while something huge moved beneath it. Then people in town started disappearing. One by one, kids who swam in the lake vanished. Their shoes were found near the shore. No bodies, and the lights under the lake. Now they're getting brighter. I couldn't ignore the lake anymore. The glowing orbs kept getting brighter each night, casting a strange blue mist across the water. Everyone else pretended not to notice, but I knew something was wrong. One night I found Kaira standing at the edge of the lake. Her eyes were glassy, her feet bare. She whispered, "They're calling me." I grabbed her arm, but she pulled away and walked straight into the water. I screamed her name, but she didn't turn back. The second her body disappeared beneath the surface, the orbs lit up like stars, spinning in a circle. Then I heard a deep hum from beneath the lake. Not a sound I heard with my ears, but something inside my bones. I ran to the local librarian, Mrs. Henson. She was old, and people said she used to be into occult stuff. She showed me an old map of Stillwater. Turns out, there was a town beneath the lake, flooded in 1922 after a dam broke. Some say the townspeople never left, she said. Not really. She told me stories of rituals meant to trap dark spirits, underwater rituals powered by human souls. If the lights were glowing brighter, it meant the trap was weakening. Kaira was gone, but I wasn't going to let it happen again. I went back to the lake at midnight, holding a bottle of salt, a mirror, and the map Mrs. Henson gave me. I chanted what she told me to. The water turned black, and then they